Chorus Line, and Virginia Rep was doing West Side Story. Between the two of us, we exhausted the pool of people who could sing, dance, and act, and neither of us filled up the casts.
When you see an equity guest actor at we smaller theaters, it's not necessarily a stupendous paycheck.
Theaters don't do this lightly because it costs us money, whether it's an additional union contract, but they also has to be transported here. You have to find housing for them.
Like, you have to figure out, is it worth subletting my apartment? You know, is someone going to take it for 6 weeks?
It's a gypsy's life, figuring out what to do with their pets or all the responsibilities. I mean, it's hard to pick up and go.
I like to think that I'm able to bring something back to Richmond when I come back, because I do work on major shows on Broadway, and there's a lot more technology, a lot more equipment that I'm able to use. And sometimes I'm able to bring some of that back into the Richmond community.
Anytime you bring in somebody from the outside, they're going to put you at the top of your game.
David Kreppel was incredibly helpful to us from a sound perspective. He came in with a totally new idea about reverb and position and placement that really has helped us really with clarity in the space.
And when you see someone come in and work in a different way than perhaps you're accustomed to working, or direct you in a way that you're not used to, that helps everybody grow.
In my experience, it hasn't been about ego or Richmond versus this. It's been about we're all coming together to make something really special. I know it's made me better.
If we never collaborate with people outside of the market, no one outside of the market will ever know what a wonderful and vibrant community we have.
All of my experiences working with people outside of Richmond have really been wonderful. Working with Trezana Beverly, a Tony Award winner, what an opportunity to watch her work.
I think it's always great to get a different perspective.
One of the people who has been seminal in sort of bringing that refreshed look has been Penny Ann Moss, who directed our production of Cabaret. And she cast people in that show we necessarily wouldn't have looked at in the same way.
They see me differently, you know, they have a fresh opinion of me. And to get to play a dramatic part in a play was like, it felt like a whole new challenge, and I loved it. And they brought Steve Kohler out to do the lights for that this summer.
So he just had kind of a different way of doing shows than I'd ever worked with before, which was wonderful.
The director said, "You'll be back. You were the easiest, most effective, great lighting designer I've ever worked with." So that's just great. You just do your best, and then you have all these opportunities in other places.
The more our theater artists get out into other markets and shine in those other markets, that will just suggest to their collaborators, wow, Richmond must be a really phenomenal place to work.
When I go to New York City, people are talking about Richmond.
The young lady currently playing Phoebe in our production of Gentleman's Guide, Adrian Eller, her boyfriend is Corey Masello, who played Riff in our production of West Side Story. And he was so complimentary of our treatment of him and loved the city of Richmond so much that he was able to say, no, you really should do this gig. And now I talked to her and she's really having a wonderful time.
I made a career here for 15 years. It was not until I did George Bailey at Theater Virginia in A Wonderful Life that I met Bill Westbrooks. He was hired to direct that show in New York and asked me if I'd come be in that. It was that mix of new faces that allowed me to have an opportunity to leave Richmond.
Working with outsiders, working with new talent, working with different perspectives only makes artists around them better.